My sense is, coming at it from our perspective, is there's a huge amount of support for this industry, but frequently, by virtue of the size and maturity of the companies, they're perhaps insufficiently well structured. So grant and debt finance is coming down the tubes into banks and venture capital funds, but when it gets there, it becomes very tricky to deploy, because sometimes the entrepreneurs just don't have the corporate experience and to put in place the governance and corporate structures that typically investors require in order to deploy funds. So I think there's frequently a need for more support at a grassroots level to make these businesses investor ready. I think there's, and to a point that Andrea was saying, there needs to be a coordinated infrastructure to put in place to support these companies. So yes, there's funds available from Europe, but just taking for example other areas, entrepreneurs find the bureaucracy associated with getting licenses and securing permits. That's another hugely time-consuming area for people to secure, to get into business and even start the road towards viability. And these companies that are starting up, funding is just one of the areas of challenge that they face in growing and being successful. And another area that I think more local regions could do to help is the tax infrastructure to incentivize investors to take more risk, perhaps over a slightly longer term. So, for example, taking a theme that's common in Canada is they have flow-through financing for mining companies that's available for several years, and it doesn't necessarily need to be attached to creation of IP, but the investors get the tax relief. Now that is available in various ways to various people, but I feel that more could be done at a country level to create an easier environment to support the development of these businesses. Up on some of the points that Andrea and Antonin, as an investor, number one, we're looking for good management and good leadership. Number two, we're looking for a site and manufacturing process around the seaweed that we feel is robust and is reasonably secure, so it de-risks many of the risks associated with this activity. And obviously, the viability of it you need to have some line of sight to an offtake agreement or processing agreements that are commercial and understandable. So I think those are the things as an investor which we're looking at and frequently find challenging when we're looking at and considering investments in the seaweed space.